You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Okay, so a couple episodes back, like 5 or 6, I sat and I told you the story of my brother and the craziness of grindage, and I'm gonna pick your peaches, lady, and hey, let's run them, woohoo! And okay, so what you don't know is I had asked permission prior if I could do that episode, and I said, "You're okay with?" I said, "What are you not okay with me talking about?" And he goes, "No, say whatever you want." So then, after the episode aired, he called me because he had a problem, and I said, "Wait, you have a problem because you said I could say whatever I want?" He goes, "No, no." And I'm going to tell you what the problem is in a second. But first, please welcome to the show my brother Jimmy. There he is. Nick. Oh no, give me a clear one. Hey, Nick. There he is. See, folks, when I do the voices, I am not kidding. Somebody listened to the Berg episode once and said, "Oh, I thought you were joking." I'm like, no, there's no joke there with the Berg.
Berg is no joke. Berg is Berg.
And we can blame you for Berg.
It's all my fault.
We blame you.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. You got here before I did.
Yes, I did.
You got here 8 years before I did.
I arrived before you did.
1963.
I was even there when you were conceived in Snowmass, Colorado.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your dad grabs mom and drags her to California.
Correct.
Start a new life, get out of Chattanooga.
Get the hell out of
And
the South.
This was, 62?
I'm 63. Mom got on a train 2 weeks before I was born. I was conceived in Tennessee, and she came out here 2 weeks before I was born.
You see what I know.
Yeah.
You see what I know. So,
and I was one of those hush babies because after years and years of looking, they were married when Mom was already 3 months pregnant by the time.
Yeah. It's one of those where you when the wedding couple gives you their anniversary, you don't do the math with the kids.
No, exactly.
Right? How many times have we done that, right? So they come to California. They have you. They're living somewhere. I don't know.
Norwalk, California.
Somewhere in Norwalk.
Right. Flowland Street.
Flowland.
Over by June Raggett's old house is where my dad. I remember that house vaguely.
Okay. So at some point it goes south.
At some point, at all the point, my dad was like the party. Yeah. So that's where I get it from.
So I can only tell you about my experience. And did you understand when I did the math in the show about how even though we're 8 years apart, I didn't really know you with air quotes till I was 7 or 8.
Right.
Because I have no memories prior to that.
We all have memories when we're younger, but they're vague.
They're fuzzy and stuff.
Night here, a time
but
there.
they're usually forged by pictures and family albums.
Yes.
Because if you ask somebody from our generation, describe your childhood, and then you pull out their photo album, every
Birthday
memory.
Parties, Grandpa dressing up as a monster and no one knew who he was.
Right.
These are the memories I have. I had a merry-go-round party, a clown party. This is
right, and they're all in the photo albums, right? Which I find that fascinating.
And this generation is never going to have that because every photo's on their phone every 5 seconds.
Everything is documented.
It's totally different.
Because I try to explain to people, you took a picture. And then it went in a drawer, in a jar, in a little thing, a little capsule.
And maybe 6 months later, you had the money to develop it.
And then you were like, "Oh yeah, I remember these."
The film was inexpensive. The developing.
Oh yeah,
cost an arm and a leg.
They got you. That's like the printer is cheap. The ink is what gets you.
Exactly.
So, at some point, is that your eBay going off?
eBay going off. Just sold something.
Yeah, my brother sells. But it's the thing. My brother and I are completely different people, except for the parts where we're completely alike, right?
Which is our mother.
Yes. So, at some point in the family history, Mom has a gun to her head to sign divorce papers. Is that how it goes? What am I missing?
That I've heard that. I really couldn't tell you. I remember. I'll tell you one story I remember before you were born.
Lay it on me.
We lived in Norwalk on Flowland Street, I do believe, in these apartments. And I can remember the cops showing up, and there was a line up from our staircase that came down, and then the front door was to the right. Little small living room, half the size of yours. So the stair would come down, and there would be the front door out.
Okay.
And there was cops lined up from the wall and the stairway, 6 of them, escorting my father out of the house, into a car, and escorting him out of town.
Out of town.
Out of the city of
They
Norwalk.
rode him out on a rail.
They rode him out on the rail. Goodbye.
But they got back together.
But yeah, well, my dad was very persuasive.
Yeah.
I remember another night, the Western Room on Pioneer. Mom went with Lois and her husband, Lois and Mike Rio, and their kids.
Lois and Mike, I'd love to find them.
And they lived in Huntington Beach the last I knew.
Yeah, I'd love to find them.
Off of Magnolia. But so we're at the Western Room, and then Mom invited a guy from work. Wasn't a date, wasn't romantic.
Just some guy.
Some guy.
Like Roy Neblet.
My dad calls the bar.
Yeah.
The guy freaks out and leaves, and the next day he's in the hospital because my dad beat the crap out of him in the parking lot that night. This is how I grew up before you came along. It was violence all the time. My dad was a drunk, a violent drunk.
So help me figure this out. Why did every guy, save for my dad, was a raging either alcoholic or unstable, angry man?
I could never figure it out.
What was wrong with our mother?
Jerry wasn't angry at the time.
No, but he was a drunk.
He was a drunk.
He was
but
a raging alcoholic.
Drunk, and he didn't start drinking again until Mom went and found Roger Doyle Roger.
Yeah.
Boogie.
It's just so, like, most people, not us, but most people, their parents live long enough that you could actually have that conversation with them.
Well, I tried to
and
have
you could
that
say
conversation
why.
with Mom.
So you were old enough to have it.
And she wouldn't answer it.
I didn't care.
She wouldn't answer it. She'd do the shoulder, and he makes me happy.
He makes me happy, right. Jennifer and I just thought this the other day, every time she would get in a fight with Roger Dole Rogers and put him on a bus, we would think he was gone for good. And then when he showed up back, Jennifer and I would sing this song. And the song is, like nothing ever happened.
Frank Sinatra.
And as a kid, you have this general idea because you watch movies, you watch TV, that if a man and a woman have this big drag out fight where, this is not hyperbole, dishes are thrown against the wall,
oh, exactly.
Chairs are broken, and then somebody leaves, you go, well, that's it. But that's not what happens in the real world.
No, and that's not what happened with my first marriage with Kim either. The same thing, I was following Mom. I was taught, you get married, that's it.
Yeah.
And she's threatening me with a baseball bat. She almost beat my brains out.
That's where you have to draw the line.
That's when I said, enough's enough.
So, you were there when Mom divorced your dad.
Right.
Right? And then she dragged you to Tennessee for this trip.
Well, she was still technically married when we went on that trip.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. Oh, yeah, no, she wasn't a free woman
We didn't go
yet.
to Tennessee. We went to Snowmass.
But they went to Tennessee first.
Oh, yeah, we went to Tennessee first. And I remember sitting in your father's mother's house and, oh, what a woman.
Tilly.
What a bitch.
Yeah, Tilly Friedman, yeah.
I had to sit there with my hands in my lap and not touch anything.
Yeah, I
had to be in a shirt and tie and slacks at 7 years old.
I only met her a couple of times.
And I hated that. I was a California boy in jeans and flip-flops. Come on.
Yeah, well, Southern rules are different. Southern etiquette's totally different.
Oh, yeah.
Children are seen and not heard.
Children say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
I was going to say,
sir,
yeah.
No, sir. They call their teachers ma'am and sir, and you don't
I went
talk
back. I went back for a summer, and they tried to put that into me, and they kept saying it's not working. And I said, I'm from California, man. That's not how we act out there, And it's not like I'm the hey surfer dude, nothing like that. I just don't do the yes ma'am, no ma'am thing.
I do, to an extent, but I didn't when I was younger.
No. Well, kids want to rebel. So you were in Tilly's house,
I rebelled.
And Mom is rekindling George for some reason.
Because Mom could never be alone. There was never a reason, just Mom couldn't be alone.
Oh, yeah, no, we totally get that. She was a codependent of the highest order.
Right.
The proof of that is when she finally left Berg for good, 6 months later she was dead. Which is like, it's tragedy of its highest order.
Right.
But my mom needed chaos.
Mom thrived on chaos.
She loved chaos around her. There's no bigger thing than that. So her and George hook up, and they make plans to go to Colorado.
Right.
And you get dragged along, and you're going to be skiing and all that. But are you just alone the whole trip?
No. We went and we did the skiing. I remember going out. This is why I remember the trip so well. It was middle of winter, snow on the ground. There was a 90-degree heated pool, and George and Mom dragged me out to this pool at 6 o'clock at night to get in the pool. I thought it was in heaven. I was with the rich people in the swimming pool heated with snow on the ground.
This is how George lived.
How I remembered the trip.
Yeah.
And then 9 months later along came Jeffrey Anthony Tucker.
Yeah. So,
and he was getting Izod Lacoste crap in the mail all the time,
Yeah.
and I was always jealous of all of that.
see, that's weird to hear because growing up,
You had every fine piece of clothing in the world.
I've seen the pictures. I looked like the littlest douchebag you've ever met.
Lord Fauntleroy.
All
That's what
preppy,
Mom called you.
little collars.
Exactly.
And most kids are just wearing regular clothes or granimals.
Yes.
And I'm wearing designer crap. I look like a-hole in
Pompous
training
ass.
pants, right? So, but see, here's the thing. Mom never mentions George to me.
I don't know. I can't ever give you any more insight into why she didn't. I don't know why.
But she never took you aside and said, look, I'm going to lie to Jeff.
No, she never did. She never even told me. She gave you my last name. My dad went to court and fought it.
Yeah.
There was a blood test done. Because he wasn't going to pay child support on some other kids.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember because during those years, we were up at UCLA Medical Center over and over again. And I would always be given blood. And I'd go, am I going to die?
Do I have some rare
Yeah, I can
disease?
remember.
Yeah.
And part of it she would explain to me was I wasn't growing right. And they were looking into ways as to why, was I a midget or a dwarf or something? And they had some plan where they were going to break my legs and reset them.
I remember that.
So I could be taller.
Because you were born 3 months premature and weighed 4 pounds.
Yeah. I was not supposed to make it. So I'm given blood. I have no idea why. And here's what I remember. One of the earliest memories I have is your dad, Jim Tucker Sr., pulls up to the house on Studebaker, and you don't want to go.
I never wanted to go.
And he dragged you and threw you in the car and tore off. And I remember thinking, that guy's my dad? It never even occurred to me to say, well, how come I'm not going too? Because I didn't want to go.
I didn't want to go either.
But that didn't matter. What mattered was I was like it was like a Darth Vader moment, you know. No, Jeff.
It's not
I am your father. Like, really, you? It doesn't match up. So I've told the story on the show of how I found the letters and da. So we'll skip all that part because if you want to hear that, that's in To George, My Father on Father's Day. What's important is during the drunks period. So she divorces your dad. She never marries mine.
No.
She marries Jennifer's dad, has Jennifer, Jerry Austin Smith.
Right.
And 7 or 8 years
Who
later.
gave Mom a good life.
Oh, no.
They bought a house together.
But-
She got her credit straightened
Yeah.
out. She was living good. She was active in the church. She was.
Yeah.
I thought she was happy.
So that was 72?
Jennifer was born in 73, so
Right.
yeah, 72.
So 72 to 79, I'm going to give.
You don't remember the episode when the drunk, not the drunks, but the drunk hit our house. When we lived down the street from the babysitters.
Oh, you're talking on Harvest.
On Harvest.
No, I have no memories of Harvest.
Oh, so we're there one night, and apparently, if you lived in Norwalk, and you can explain it later, Studebaker, Rosecrans, and he turned on Harvest. He was hitting cars as he was driving down
nice.
Studebaker.
Getting points.
Hitting cars as he's driving, driving by pinball, basically. And he comes up on 2 wheels and hits our garage, misses Jerry's Volkswagen, and hit the car in front of our neighbor head on, stops, and I'm standing there with Mom, because we're all out, we thought it was an earthquake. We were outside, and this guy opens his car door, the bottle drops out, doesn't break, and that's what he says, at least the bottle didn't break. It was a massive scene.
Now, but Harvest is a side street.
Harvest was a little,
because
but it had a light. It was a main side street.
When
It had
we-
a light off of Rosecrans.
When we moved to
It was
Studebaker,
the main track.
we got hit all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
We didn't get hit as much as 2 doors down where that curve
where
came
it curved,
out.
right.
So-
Right, but I was just telling the story that my first car was a yellow MG Roadster. Pristine.
I remember
I
that.
learned to drive a stick. I was going to get all the girls I could handle in that car. And 2 weeks before I got it, that guy hit it. And I drove it one time exactly. And I wept. Because I didn't have a car.
drove it more than you
I
did.
didn't have a car until I took yours,
Yeah.
which we'll get to in a minute. So from 72 to 79, we have the idyllic life. There's a swing set in the backyard. There's food on the table. Jennifer and I are going to doctor's appointments every other week.
Dentist.
Dental appointments.
Eye doctor.
Jerry had full coverage. Now, this is
Southern
back...
Pacific Railroad. He had everything.
This is back when, and people will have a hard time understanding this, healthcare was impossible to get.
Oh, yeah. If you had health care in the 70s, you were hoity-toity.
You were rich.
Yeah, exactly.
We were upper middle class.
Right.
Jerry made a really good living as a switchman. Mom made good money as an accountant.
He was in the union, so he had union rep,
Right.
this and this, and he had all the benefits you could ask
So,
for because he worked there for years.
He fell off the wagon? Is that what happened?
No. Mom went back to Tennessee and ran into Roger Dole Rogers.
And that just derailed the whole thing.
That derailed the whole thing. She
That's-
decides it's her high school sweetheart, and she's going to rekindle her past. I don't know if you call it a midlife crisis or what.
It was a
you call
midlife crisis.
It had to be.
Yeah, it had to be. And Roger Dole Rogers was the key to staying young and...
Or rekindling something. What? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Because Roger Dole Rogers and I went to fisticuffs several times.
He was a piece of work. And I again, go back to Drunks episode 1 where I talk about his hands would shake in the morning from lack of alcohol.
He couldn't even smoke a cigarette until he had a drink, and he couldn't barely hold the drink because it would slosh everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. He could
Sit
not...
in that recliner that I'd put you and your sister in and make you guys fight. Remember that?
Yeah.
And he'd sit there and shake like you could put a milkshake in his hand and make a milkshake without a blender.
So Mom
Bad.
sabotaged the marriage by bringing this guy back.
I don't know if you call it sabotage or just
She jumped ship.
jump ship.
Which is crazy. Crazy.
She had the white picket fence life.
It derailed
Which
everything.
in the 70s and 80s is what every woman was
God
looking for.
almighty. Now, Jerry wasn't the greatest guy.
He was
but
this social guy, but he had provided a good living.
Here's the thing.
And he had a good family.
Here's the thing. He was boring.
Yeah, he was boring.
He was
Mom
boring.
didn't like boring.
Mom didn't like boring.
Mom liked someone that was going to be by her side in the midst of everything.
Oh, God.
Mom was the center of the party.
People don't understand what the choices that they make do to people. They're so wrapped up in, what does it do to me? And you know what? I hate to say this about our mother, but she's gone, so whatever. But she never stopped to think, what was it doing to the children? And I've always said, and let me preface it before you butt in here, we lived in a bubble. Jennifer and I were in a bubble because you had the wherewithal to get the hell out. You got married and you got out for a while.
May not have been the wisest choice, but I chose
Well,
that.
you married Whack Job, but even marrying Whack Job and getting out is still getting out, right? And I know we lived in a bubble, and if Mom was here, she'd go, I did everything for you that I could, and you never wanted for anything, and you had every Star Wars toy you want. I'm like, no. I had a drunk living on the top bunk who forgot he was on the top bunk every night and would jump out of bed.
Roll off the bed.
And one time I was going in to go to bed, and two of them were having sex in there. And I said, it was Dale, no, not Dale, who was the young guy? Randy. Yeah, Randy.
The one that rolled off the cliff and died, right?
Yes. So it's just
unbelievable. Not funny, but
it is funny in hindsight.
Comical.
It's just, you have to imagine, folks, we went from dinner at the club, basically, with Jerry, and Eastern Star. I mean, I'm not.
Mom was
it's not. I'm
very
not
active in Eastern Star.
Right. I'm not.
I used to call her devil worshipping.
I'm not. What's the word I'm looking for? When you tell a tale, you are.
You're not embellishing?
I'm not embellishing. I'm not stretching the truth when I say we had dinner at the club. Mom was the worthy matron
she was
of the
head
Eastern.
honcho in charge.
Head one.
HMFIC in layman's terms.
I just went to a Masonic temple for Josie for a big thing, and I'm like, I grew up in one of these because my mom was the grand poobah of the water moose.
Wednesday night she was there, and we had to go dressed up and take pictures as her family.
Yeah, I've seen those, right? You're wearing
I'm wearing
something
some
Prince would have worn, right?
Suit with a purple shirt. Yeah, Prince would have been proud.
And we went from that to having Sunday breakfast at the Topper Bar.
I never went to Topper.
I did. They dragged us to a bar on Sunday morning because it was open for breakfast, and then we got to get the biscuits there, and they call biscuits cat heads.
Yes,
they had some cat heads there, and I don't, and I remember like culture shock. What's happened? So what was your take? Because everybody's heard mine. When you walk in the door and there's 12 drunks in the house. There's drunks living out back. There's Charlie taking a crap on himself. Uncle Otis is making chili going, there's some real good chili in that pot. And Dale and Hub and Randy and Skeeter. I mean, I could go on and on and on. People think I'm kidding. No, you were there and you were 8 years older.
Yeah.
At any point, did you turn to her and go, what the hell are you doing?
All the time, Mom, I'm a partying. My friends in our group is enough. What the hell have you done to our home?
It was crazy, right?
It was nuts.
I always liken it to Every Which Way But Loose when the old lady's got all the bikers in the house.
It was like that every day.
And the music goes, that's what it seemed like to me. Like, what's happening
all we
here?
needed was the orangutan and we'd have been right
Exactly, right? Okay, so backtrack a little bit. Go back a little bit. I grew up... my first memories are it's always Star Wars. Star Wars. And I would hang up Star Wars posters on the wall.
Right.
And then you would turn the swamp cooler on and blow them right off the wall.
But I didn't do that, all of it on purpose. Some of it, because Star Wars drove me nuts at one point.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, I've had enough Star Wars.
I'm at that point now. But you put up a poster of Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, Linda Ronstadt. Dude, in 1977, she was... every man's dream.
I remember staring at that poster.
That poster was one of the biggest.
She had the feather in her hair and stuff.
You could see her nipples.
And I'm like,
if you want to exit that out,
that's fine.
Okay.
No, because I remember thinking,
white dress.
That's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
Looking.
Now, she had
turned into a train wreck later.
A short shelf life.
She had a short shelf life.
I was just watching the Eagles documentary. I had no idea how close
they were very
the Eagles
tied
and I didn't know that.
You know where the Eagles got their start, right?
What do you mean? They were her backup band.
No, before that. They were at Disneyland in the up out of the ground.
The Eagles were?
The Eagles started as a house band at Disneyland.
I had no idea.
And then they became Linda's backup band.
That's fascinating. That's not in the documentary.
Yeah. The truth.
The Tomorrowland Terrace.
I was there.
Okay, so we grew up in the same bedroom for about 4 years, right?
Yeah.
More than I can remember. And the whole time I'm in there, you've got bongs and... I collected Star Wars figures, and I am 8 years old.
Right.
You were 16, and do you remember what you collected? Because I remember exactly what you collected.
What did I collect?
Miniature liquor bottles.
Oh, yeah, I had and beer cans.
Yes.
I had that shelf above our window full of the beer cans.
That's exactly right.
Sheeran beer, all the exotic beer, and I didn't drink. I was never a major drinker.
All those little bottles.
Little bottles, and a lot of those were full. So if I'd have been a drinker, they wouldn't have been
you weren't a drinker.
No, I like other substances.
You dabbled. You took me to Mind's Eye one time.
Mind's Eye still exists. It's still there in Norwalk.
Yeah, but it was
down the street.
It's not the cool place it used to be.
It's not what it was.
Mind's Eye was a head shop with a psychedelic roof and walls, and it was in the center of Norwalk on 5 Points, right?
Right.
And I remember going in one time
Antonio.
and seeing all the bongs and stuff, and the guy's like, "You're not allowed in here. You gotta get out." And you were like, "Wait outside." And this was like 2 doors down from where Joan's law office was, which she would end up marrying Jerry when Mom divorced him, trying to put it all together.
Yeah.
So you have all these. I did the whole show about your crazy friends, Gonzo and
Mike
Rosine, who blew on the bubble lights and blew up in his face.
PJ,
Randy
Barnes.
Oh my God, yes. And
Randy Barnes was the house we used when we built the haunted house.
Randy Barnes' house.
Right.
Do you remember which house that was?
Yes, I could tell you. I could take you right to it.
I keep trying to find
and there's still,
a newspaper
that
article.
Person went in their backyard and dug.
There's probably coffins down there.
We had a 8-foot hole we dug for a coffin.
Oh, I remember.
One at the bottom.
Yeah, I remember seeing
and
that.
And we had one of those. We did the lightning effect. Someone had hit one of those meter on signs when they first came out, and we grabbed it and took it, and transformed it into the flashing lightning episode.
Yeah,
crap that we
the haunted house was legendary.
Yeah.
And I talked about
newspaper,
it
the
early on
Herald
a show.
American did a story.
I know.
I've been looking for it too.
Yeah,
but
I don't think the Herald American put their archives online. It's too small paper. Yep. But that was the night that Vernon Butts, dressed as Darth Vader,
and was standing around out front,
carried me around because it was Darth Vader's my hero. And then we would find out later he's a serial killer. Surprise!
I remember after you went and found Mr. Benton, PJ and I had a falling out, and I contacted him. We've since gotten back in touch, and there was a night that he never remembered where the freeway killer almost got him. And we lived on Studebaker, and the first little street, what was it, Leffingwell?
Yeah.
With those apartments. And I was coming home
Foster?
with Mom.
Which direction?
Leffingwell, the apartment's right on our side.
That's
On
Foster.
Studebaker. Foster. Okay, so Foster at the corner there, and we're flipping the U-turn. Mom's coming home.
Yeah.
And PJ's in the bushes, knocked out with his bike. And I told Mom, we need to get him and get him home.
They were
And he had
gonna
come
get him.
from Vernon's, and they had given him the knockout drops, but PJ was so big and belligerent,
Oh,
he got
my
on his bike
God.
and left. And he got that far and passed
That's
out.
the apartments that Tiffany lived at.
Right there in the corner where
Yeah.
Tiffany lived. With that little side door where you could end up in the alley or you go
Yeah.
straight down Studebaker. Those
Right.
apartments right there. And he was in the bushes, knocked out. We got him in the car, took him home, came back. I rode his bike back to the house.
How many times do you think you guys scraped by just by getting killed by that guy? Over and over, right? You were lucky you had a girlfriend.
I had Donna with me at all
the
times.
The FBI guy said your
And it
girlfriend
wasn't
saved
the FBI,
you.
it was LA County Sheriff.
LA County Sheriff.
And this guy that they called out of retirement had badge number 1. And he's the one that came and showed these pictures to Mom. And then she called all of my friends, and we all had to sit down and look at these pictures of males' private parts and their mouths and things these people had done wasn't nice.
But here's the thing. Most of the times when somebody is arrested for being a killer or something, or shooting up a neighborhood or something, they go, well, he was so quiet and nice. Vernon was not quiet or nice.
No.
He dressed as
wasn't
a
mean,
but he dressed as a
wasn't
vampire.
And guess where we met him?
Where'd you meet him?
Your favorite drama teacher, Maggie Reg.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
Finian's Rainbow. Where I met Donna is where I met Vernon.
How come you never
freshman
married
year.
Donna? What happened? Donna was your first real girlfriend.
Donna was my first love. I don't know what
Donna
happened.
Griffin.
Donna Griffin.
And her
Donna
brother
Ray,
Russell
and her sister Gail.
got in my closet one time and refused to leave.
And you even told on me for sneaking Donna in the house one night, and she was hiding in the closet. And
well-
you told Mom, and
well, no,
gave
we
me
had
up.
we had a trundle bed.
Yeah, she'd get in the closet and then climb under the bed.
Yeah, so we had a trundle bed, which is a bed with another bed under it that you pull out, and
pops
then
up.
that bed pops up.
Correct.
So that leaves an empty space under the first bed, and you would put her in there.
Yeah.
That's.
She'd get in the closet and wait for you to go to sleep.
I'm young. That's scary.
You
You know,
me out.
I would love now to find a young girl under my bed, but back then it was scary. You're aware that girls have cooties, right?
No, back
cooties.
then you did. You had that. I didn't have that problem.
Cooties is real.
15, 16. I never had a problem dating women. I was never afraid to ask them out.
No, I asked him out. I just never got a yes. It's different. It's totally different. So, okay, wait. So at some point, all the drunks are living at the house, and you're out. You're out. We have this big wedding for you,
Right.
And you get married, and you live across from Norwalk Square in this little house,
Right.
And I only know that because I stayed over all the time.
Yeah, you used to escape and say, I just want to come over.
Okay, so I stayed over all the time to escape the drunks.
Correct.
Like, people don't understand the minefield that our house was, and I was I was under the impression it's never gonna get worse than this. This is the worst ever.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
That Berg was on his way.
Oh my God! We'll get to that. Just 1 second. So, but there were good times. There were good times. Your wedding was a good time. You had a baby shower because you had a son. That was a good time. Do you remember driving down to the 1984 Olympics?
Yes.
That was a good time.
Yes, that
Like, people
was
don't
amazing.
realize how much fun. Like, I don't want the Olympics to come back because of traffic.
But traffic was great then. It was an amazing
They told
thing
everybody
that
to stay away.
Peter Uberoth pulled off. Traffic, there was no issue with traffic.
It was an
And
amazing
going down to the
time.
Olympic Village was an amazing,
Yeah.
once in a lifetime chance, really.
I actually you don't have pictures from that day.
I know there was people. My son was dressed in white shorts and a American flag shirt,
Yeah.
with an American flag Olympic hat, and people from all over the world were taking pictures of it.
Yeah, but do you think in this weird climate that we're in that I don't think the patriotism would be there? I think people are too wrapped up in their tiny little social problems that they can't put that aside. The last big wave of patriotism this country had was after 9/11.
Right. And it was an amazing awakening that didn't last.
It didn't last. We thought it would.
I thought it would.
We all thought, okay, this is it. We're going to last. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I think, to be fair, and not to get political, but I think Katrina washed away, no pun intended, that patriotism. It lasted for about 3 or 4 years, and then it went away when the government didn't help all those people.
The government just abandoned those people, basically.
Right. Okay, well, enough of that. But, okay, so at some point, all of the drunks get on a bus and they don't come back.
Well, I'm not there, so you know more about that
They all get-
because I wasn't living there at the time.
One by one, they're put on a bus, and
Terry left.
yeah. Here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. I had been living with those drunks 3 or 4 years, and I'd seen every kind of type of. These were not happy drunks. These were miserable old men who drank because they were in Vietnam, because the world was not giving them what they thought they were owed. Da 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 da. The first time I ever saw a crazy drunk person. You know where I'm going with this?
I don't think I do.
It was Kim and her Long Island iced tea.
My ex. Oh, when I had to carry her in the house.
Yes.
Yes.
And she kept screaming,
My
"Bleh,
baby.
my baby."
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. And it was the first time I was like,
And now it's supposed to be a nice night out at an expensive steak dinner restaurant, and all she did was get drunk.
but it was funny.
And now I look at it, it was funny, but
I wasn't used to funny drunks. I was used to misery drunks, so it was a change, right? So what was Gonzo's obsession with the peaches?
it was that song.
Just the song.
Steve Miller, and it drove the lady nuts, so he'd sing to her every day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She used to come down and just shake her
and
fist.
Mom would tell him, so he'd do it again, and it just became a cycle.
Okay, so
I just heard that song yesterday, was laughing my ass off.
we'll talk about Berg, but then we'll backtrack a little.
But I gotta tell you one story about the drunks that.
Oh,
you didn't know
absolutely.
about.
That's what you're here
Because
for.
there was a night that Mom was making me do something, and I'm like, BS. I'm gonna get even with the drunks, and I was selling LSD at the time.
LSD.
Yes.
Okay.
Mickey Mouse. You talked about it on the
Yeah.
episode.
You had
So
one on your rearview mirror.
I had usually 150, 200 hits of it in Mom's freezer at all times, so I took and made Dole.
You've got LSD in the freezer.
All the time there was LSD in the freezer.
Next to the Otter Pops.
Well, it was sealed up in a baggie.
Yeah,
It was
but you
hidden.
know what I mean.
Yes, of course.
The freezer ain't that big, Jim.
The freezer, well, but it didn't take up much space.
What
A little paper tab.
How much is a hit of LSD?
Well, back then I was selling them for $5. I was buying them for 50 cents.
Wow, that's a heck of a markup.
Yes.
But were you taking them yourself or
there
just
was one
selling
time
them?
I took 15 hits at one time.
15
I
hits.
was around Norwalk for 3 days. It's just, don't know. Yeah.
What does LSD do to you?
Opens up your mind and gives you trips, and if you don't have a strong mind, you go crazy.
Oh yeah, no, I would.
But
never.
I always
That's terrifying.
I
to
always
me.
learned or went into it with this, I'm here to party. This is fun.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to go
Yeah.
overboard, and I told myself I'd never use a needle. I never used a needle.
Yeah. But here's the thing, and I'm not excusing any drug use,
Right.
but whatever people do to themselves to me is their own business, right? I came of age in the Reagan era. And what was Nancy Reagan's platform?
Just say no.
say no.
But-
so drugs were in the 70s part of the culture. You had a good
They
time.
were the culture.
They were the right.
Yeah,
you
they
did
were
some
the
drugs. Who cares? Everybody, you guys need to loosen up. Have a little hit of this and this. By the time Reagan gets in office, we're being told this is the downfall, and you're going to die. So my generation, Generation X, we didn't do drugs or have sex. So I don't know what we were doing. I have no idea.
The baby boomers partied.
God almighty, we got screwed. Totally screwed. Because the Nancy Reagan, the first lady, on the TV every 10 seconds.
But yet the Iran-Contra thing is going on where Reagan's people are funneling drug money back and paying and giving them arms.
It's
and
do as
the
I
whole thing
say,
was
don't do
going
as I
on.
do.
Right.
You know
And
that.
then there was the famous PSA where they throw a pat of butter in the frying pan.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is your brain.
and this is your brain on drugs.
Any questions? Yeah.
And we'd be watching that every night at 2 a.m. High on cocaine.
High on cocaine. Watching that PSA.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Dude, check that out.
Well, there's a story that says Nixon only started the war on drugs divert attention from Watergate and from. This is around the time he gave Kaiser all this power to rise up to become the #1 healthcare provider. Blah 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 blah. Not to get into that, but so.
But anyway, back to the LSD.
You've got the important part is you've got Mickey Mouse, Sorcerer's Apprentice, LSD tabs in the freezer, and you do what with them?
I made sandwiches for Dole and Otis and Terry, and I put a half a hit of acid in each sandwich.
And what happened?
Mom was on me about something. I don't remember. 30, 40 minutes later, they were in the living room. They weren't angry drunks. They were laughing and having a good time.
Oh, my God. I would give anything to see that. Can you imagine?
So when I sat there laughing all night.
So for
long.
like $2,
yeah,
you just
I
changed the station.
Exactly. I've had enough of this. And then I used to get Otis.
Wow.
Otis was the old guy, right?
Otis was the skeleton. Charlie was the old...
Charlie. So Charlie one night, he wants to smoke some weed.
Yeah.
And I got some really high-grade Thai stick and...
That's so funny.
Charlie's
Thai stick.
Charlie's crawling on the floor after smoking this stuff because he was gone.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's the young people helping the old folks out, right?
Take away your pain.
So, you grew up in the 70s.
I grew up in that 70s show was my life.
What was the catalyst for drugs? Was it at a party and somebody's got a joint and it's just this is what you do? Because like we just said. That was part of the culture.
Yeah, I started smoking pot between my 8th and 9th grade year. That summer of my 8th
So
grade
13
year.
to 14, you started smoking pot.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I started smoking pot before I started smoking cigarettes.
So it was a gateway drug.
To me, I've been yelling for years it should have been legalized because half the kids that are doing hardcore drugs wouldn't be sampling them because the guy selling the weed is selling everything else.
Yeah, see, I don't care. I've never cared about drugs. If you want to do drugs, that's your business. What I care is when the druggie breaks in your house to get money to get more drugs, and then we got a problem, right?
Right.
So I grew up in the bedroom with scales and bongs and those wooden boxes with the slide. You slide the back
panels,
thing to get it open because Mom could never open this. I don't know how, Mom. Jimmy told you how to open this. I don't know, Mom. As soon as she leaves, I slide it and open. Oh, it's full of seeds. Okay, Mom doesn't need to see that.
Had lots of seeds.
And
them damn rabbits.
The rabbits ate the pot. The other funny thing is, since you were 8 years older, and not only were you 8 years older, but you wanted to grow up fast. You wanted to be an adult.
I was what's the term they used? The latchkey kid?
Yeah.
Because
Mom
Jerry
worked.
was working swing shift, Mom worked, so when I get out of school, no one was home.
Yeah, you're just on your own.
And Mom said, you're old enough, you don't need a babysitter, so I was the latchkey kid.
Yeah. So you had all these things to me that were alien, right? You had Stridex pads.
Right.
I didn't know what a Stridex pad was.
I don't think they'd sell those nowadays.
No, because I tried one and it burnt my face. It was so strong.
And I don't know why I ever had them, because I never had a major problem with acne.
That you wanted to be an adult. You also had Brute.
No, yeah, I had
And I put Brute on one time, and that burned my face.
That burnt.
And I remember between Roger Doe Roger shaking, the Stridex pads, and the Brute, I'm like, I don't want to grow up because it burns and you shake. Right? It's terrible. Remember the time, I think I told on the show, you fell asleep at the beach?
And I fried myself.
You fried your whole
Yeah.
body. You and Johnny Tucker,
Yeah.
our cousin.
Yeah. We used to be at the beach every day.
And so you were in a bathtub of ice for about 3 days.
Ice and alcohol.
Crying.
Yeah. Sobbing.
Like that's...
Weeping like a baby.
To me, that's a cautionary tale. That's one of those
And I
things...
did it again after I got out of my vacation.
Did you really?
And I went fishing. You don't remember that? After Angie and I got married.
No.
I went fishing.
And you got burnt
Lake
again?
Terrace, and I'm catching bass. I hadn't been fishing in a while because I'd been on vacation. So the bass are... And I used to love to fish. I used to fish bass tournaments all the time. I had the money and the time. And it's like 90 degrees and I'm catching fish all morning long. And about noon it stops. The bite stops. Been there since 6 in the morning. I dive in the water and all of a sudden I'm blistering up because I had taken off my shirt, catching these bass, not paying attention, and I was out of work for 4 days. I couldn't walk.
That terrifies me. Oh my God. Okay, so at what point? And we're gonna pull the Band-Aid off quick. What the hell were you thinking? Fixing our mother up with Dawn frickin' Berg. It's your fault.
It's all my fault.
It's your fault.
Yeah, it's my fault.
You
Doug
were
tried
friends
to
with
claim
Doug.
He set it up, but I did. I
You were-
introduced them.
You were friends with Douglas Berg.
I was acquaintance with Douglas Burke. He was part of the crowd. He had the big green van and access all the time, so he was driving us around all the time. There was a story back to Acid. There's a story where we went to see my favorite band, Yes, at the sports arena. Drugberg, that's what we called him. Doug, PJ, Randy,
You called Doug-
Drugberg. That was his name.
That's really funny.
And we passed the off ramp, so we're going to be late. We took the on ramp, past the off ramp.
Oh, no.
Downtown LA on the 110 to get off to go to the sports arena at USC to see Yes in the round.
Wow. Did you go to the US Festival?
I went to the US Festival. I went to Cal Jam.
You went to all these mega concerts.
right.
You know, they're starting to have them again.
Yeah, but it's not
back
the
in the
same.
day,
It's not the same.
these were not retired bands. These were brand new,
The Cal Jam
hottest band.
1978 was the best concert I ever saw. And Jim Ladd wrote a book. He was KMET.
This is Jim Ladd.
Yes, he has a
Deep
story
cuts.
where he was on the radio and telling everybody, please pull over so that Friday night people can go home from work. Because we were all heading out, so it became a great big party.
and everybody's got
on
the same
street.
station on-
Everybody's listening to KMET.
KMET,
So we all
94.7,
pulled over,
Tweedledee.
Pulled out the joints, pulled out whatever, and sat on the side of the freeway, and the cops didn't harass us, and everybody got to go
Can you
home.
imagine that, Rachel, in this
That
day
was
and
a
age?
massive party.
That's unbelievable.
It was amazing. And it was all for the love of music, which was my life. I grew up going to concerts
Yeah. Well,
all the time.
You extolled the virtues of The Song Remains the Same.
I lived it.
So I finally went to the movies to see it because, Jim says it's the greatest thing ever. What the hell? There's
have
10 minutes of movie and then it's a concert.
It's a concert.
And the guy's head
It's one
blows
of the
up.
greatest bands in rock and roll
Led
history.
Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got Led Zeppelin, man. I enjoy it now, but I think Led Zeppelin you have to be high.
At the time, I was high. Well, Jimmy Page could play a guitar.
How come those guys broke up?
They didn't. One of the drummer died, and they decided
And that's just it.
that was going to be it.
Well, was that like the worst
It
day
was-
ever?
Yeah, it was.
Did you ever see Queen live?
I saw Queen at Long Beach Arena.
How was that?
Freddie Mercury, amazing.
He saw Queen live,
I
Austin.
saw Freddie perform.
Did you ever see Bowie live?
I saw Bowie at Anaheim Stadium.
Is there a band's Austin really dream of?
Alice Cooper, David Bowie, Peter Frampton, Anaheim Stadium. A guy climbed the flag foul pole, and the fire department had to come in and get him down. He was stuck on the left field foul pole in the middle of the concert up there, and they had to come and get the fire truck on the field and get him down.
That Led Zeppelin cover of the guy holding the lantern over the town, it scared the bejesus
Led
out of
Zeppelin
me.
4.
I don't know what's happening in that picture.
That's in The Song Remains the
But it
Same.
scared
Jimmy Page
me.
is climbing the mountain and becomes the old wizard.
That's scary.
But that was all based on Tolkien.
Yeah. Because there's some of the lyrics are about
Misty Mountain Hop.
the Misty Mountain,
Talks
right?
about
Yeah.
Tolkien. and
Yeah.
Gollum and the Evil One.
And Mordor and all
exactly.
that, right? Yeah, you were way into Lord of the Rings.
Well, who's not? If you're a nerd, which I was a closet nerd,
Yeah, but these were books, Jim.
I grew up
These were
reading.
books.
I grew up reading. My friends didn't have the education or the knowledge I had. I was in MGM.
Well, you were a genius,
I could have done whatever I wanted.
which is why the drugs were so heartbreaking because they
and then
dull your
back to
senses.
what you were saying earlier, how we don't realize at the point in our lives where our actions affect so many other people.
Yeah, no, we have no idea. No, it's
And
hard.
I didn't. I was
It's
so
hard.
selfish and growing up, and that's the one thing that you said on my episode that you did. I had no regrets. The only regret I have is Mom never got to see this me.
Oh, I'm the same way. She checked
Saw
out
me.
early.
She checked out when I was just sober for a year,
Yeah.
and she's gone.
She
And
never
I've
saw
been
you
now
get your ass
sober-
together.
Exactly.
Jennifer too, our sister.
I've been sober since 1988.
How tough is that?
Not tough at all.
That's
Once you
good.
put your mind to it,
Yeah,
that's it.
I gave up soda, so
I haven't had a soda. I had my surgery, and I haven't had any processed sugar or soda in 9 months
I,
now.
it's not the same thing. I'm not equating it.
No,
but it
it's-
is. something that you like to do and you give up, it's tough.
It's a choice you make. It's just like cigarettes. They're 20 times more addicting than heroin. Nicotine is. I haven't had cigarettes.
They're designed to be addictive because there's money involved.
Exactly.
If they ever legalize fully, imagine what the pot will be like. It will be, they'll slip nicotine in it, so that not only does it make you high.
The pot was like when I was growing up.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, no, it's a lot stronger now, right?
Some of it is, but some of the stuff we had was pretty damn intense.
I just remember, and this is no slam, the whole process of getting high was just gross to me.
Yeah,
the dirty bong water.
They were gross. But the
passing around the joint is gross. I guess maybe I'm just like Felix Unger, that I need to be.
Yeah, and I was Oscar.
I need to be like like Mr. Pratt in a sterile environment getting high. I don't know, right? I'm too fussy to get high.
I grew up getting high.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?